This is Senate candidate Carlos Beruff calling undocumented workers the enemy.
Obviously, Mexico is not our enemy. What is our enemy is undocumented workers.
Like all candidates, we've pushed him and put him to the test.
You're pushing, you know.
Well, I'm pushing an agenda. I am pushing.
But our last interview did not go as planned. We'll explain how Beruff disappeared from our green room.
And you can tell them to go themselves.
Plus, we'll break down the ad war between Clinton and Trump. Russell and Charley kick off our new segment called Kitchen Table Politics. And Mayors Kriseman and Buckhorn are back for their final round of political squares. See which city will win the Battle of Tampa Bay. This is Money, Power, and Politics. Well, Florida's primary is next Tuesday, so tonight we're putting candidates in key races to the test. And for this edition, we'll focus on Senate candidate Carlos Beruff. You are not a politician. Tell me why you want to be one.
I don't want to be a politician ever. Let's start with that.
Well, based on the polls, he may get his wish. While Beruff has spent millions of his own dollars, he is getting crushed by fellow Republican Marco Rubio in the polls. Beruff is known for being blunt. He called President Obama an animal.
It's not uncommon when people dismember things that you just call them an animal.
And while he said it's a big deal, he also compared the BP oil spill to a thimble in a pool.
It was a thimble in a 10,000-gallon pool.
In our first interview, he called undocumented workers the enemy.
Obviously, Mexico is not our enemy. What is our enemy is undocumented workers that are taking advantage of many of the social programs this country offers.
Like Trump, Beruff says our nation is too politically correct.
You said you're a neophyte in this process. I learn every day. It's sort of like Alzheimer's.
Yeah,
so I have a new and exciting day every day.
Yeah, it's called a sense of humor.
In terms of policy, Beruff pledged to repeal Obamacare, but could not explain how he could do it any better than Rubio.
What would be different with Carlos Beruff in the Senate?
Well, hopefully there's a change of the executive office.
But you can't guarantee that.
No, well, I cannot guarantee that, obviously.
And if that does not come to pass, how do you repeal Obamacare?
That's a good question. We'll have to deal with if I'm the senator from Florida, I'll have to deal with that.
He also said we need to temporarily ban immigration from all of the Middle East except Israel to keep us safe from terrorists. So we asked him why stop with the Middle East.
What about Africa? You also have al-Shabaab in Somalia. You have Boko Haram in Nigeria.
Well, I think it's a global problem.
But if you cover Middle East, would you also not cover the continent of Africa as well?
I haven't given it much thought.
If you ban it across the Middle East, would you also ban it in Russia, given the threat of terrorism there?
I've been clear on the point. If we can't get them vetted properly, nobody should come into this country. How's that?
But as we pressed, he dialed that back to just ISIS.
You're pushing. You know,
Well, I'm pushing. I am pushing.
You're pushing an agenda.
I'm trying to find out where you draw.
It's ISIS. It's ISIS.
So as said, ISIS also has ties to Australia, since ISIS inspired the deadly siege on Sydney at the Lindt Chocolate Cafe, and Australia foiled an ISIS-inspired plot to randomly behead people on their streets, and their prime minister said a senior leader of ISIS comes from Australia.
ISIS has a presence in Australia?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. You were unaware of the connections to Australia?
I'm unaware that Australia tolerates the fact that they have ISIS on their property.
Well, they're trying not
on their
to.
country.
They're certainly trying not to.
Okay, that's more like it.
Well, we invited Beruff to join us again, and he accepted 3 p.m. on Friday. First, his spokesman said he was running 15 to 20 minutes early. Then he showed up 45 minutes early. We rushed to get the set ready, but at 2:45, the front desk told me that he walked out of the green room and drove away. A Beruff spokesman said something came up with his son. I asked if he's coming back and did not hear back. So with that, we've posted our prior interviews with Beruff on our YouTube channel. That's Craig Patrick's Money, Power, and Politics on YouTube. Tomorrow night, we'll move on to other candidates in the race, and in just a couple of minutes, we'll turn our sights to Trump and Clinton, show you how Republicans are gaining ground in voter registration, how Trump is hurling personal insults after his new campaign manager said he would not, and how Clinton is facing even more controversy over her emails. But for now, it's time to have some fun with our final round of the Battle of Tampa Bay. Mayors Buckhorn and Kriseman, they're back for their finale on Political Squares. So Director Darren, take it away.
One of these stars is sitting in the secret square, and the contestant who picks it could win a special prize. Which star is it? John Wilson, Matt Towery, Vanessa Rufus, Laura Moody, Russell Rhodes, Jeff Tewksbury, Linda Hurtado, Marissa Lynn, or Charley Belcher. All in the political squares. And here is the master of the political squares, Craig Patrick.
Well, here we go once more, a fourth Battle of the Bays. This is a special edition of Political Squares. Thank you for joining us. I'm Craig Patrick. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our contestants. We have the Battle of the Bay with Mayor Rick Kriseman of St. Petersburg and Mayor Bob Buckhorn of Tampa. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good to be here.
This is the fourth round.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, well, it's 2-1 so far with Mayor Buckhorn. This is your chance to even it out. We earn a draw in this fourth round, or Mayor Buckhorn runs away with it. So there's a lot at stake here today. Who do you pick?
Well, I've got to go with Charley again.
And look at that. He is the secret square.
Wow, all this and the center and a secret? This is too much.
So once again, we have a very special prize if you get this one right. Here we go.
Better get this right, Mayor Kriseman. A lot at stake here.
NASA's New Horizons spacecraft launched in 2005. Which 2016 presidential candidate provided the quarter that is taped inside it?
I can't imagine any presidential candidate giving up money. No, they want to keep all that in the war chest to spend on advertising. Let's see, but if it was somebody, well, you know what, Jeb Bush, that makes sense. He was Florida's governor at the time. That's my answer, Jeb Bush.
Governor Jeb Bush, is he bluffing you or is he onto something?
I'm going to agree.
You got it right.
Yes, 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 yes. There you go.
That's the secret square, so you get a special prize. Let's take a look at what it is.
Trump steaks are the world's greatest steaks, and I mean that in every sense of the word.
Looks like you got some Trump steaks.
That's the prize?
Let's try something else. Let's give him another prize. What else do we have?
You've just won the Political Squares board game. Hours of fun for the whole family.
How do you like that?
That's much better.
There we go. That'll be a fun game to play at home.
Much easier. Yes.
All right, Mayor Buckhorn, you're up.
I will take John.
John, what was Edward Murrow's advice to you as an aspiring young journalist?
He said, forget it. No, he didn't. He said, pay attention, learn everything, and go easy on journalism because it will come.
Is that what Edward R. Murrow told John Wilson?
No, not even close.
Well, I'm afraid it was. And with that, we have an interesting game. He wasn't bluffing you. So here we have a great opportunity for Mayor Kriseman to even this thing out and work this into a draw. I think I know where you're going with this one.
I think you're right. Marissa for the win.
Marissa Lynn, are you ready for this?
I'm totally ready for it.
Who said Republicans understand the importance of bondage between a mother and child?
That would have to be Dan Potato Quayle.
Dan Quayle. That sounds too easy. Is she bluffing you, or is she?
Well, it could be him, or it could be George W. Bush.
There's a lot of candidates for that one.
I'm going to agree.
Agree. Well, the actual answer was Dan Quayle, and with this, look at this.
Woo!
That means it evens up. We have worked to a draw. Tampa and St. Petersburg, 2 games each. Congratulations to both of you.
Good game, Mr. Mayor.
Good game, very fitting.
Thank you so much for joining us. We had a lot of fun. Of course, we'll bring you back for some serious issues throughout the year. Thank you so much for your time.
All right.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Coming up, Charley and Russell roll out kitchen table politics, and we'll focus on Clinton versus Trump in the Battle of Florida.
Okay, welcome to our first edition of Kitchen Table Politics here with Charley, our center square, and Russell of all the squares. I think you were the most jovial of the bunch. I'm the squarest. You're the funniest. You laugh the most. Check that out.
Welcome to the Fox 13 kitchen.
We're going to get serious a little bit here. Let's talk about the ads. Let's start with the Hillary Clinton ad.
In times of crisis, America depends on steady leadership.
Knock the crap out of them, would you? Seriously.
Clear thinking.
I know more about ISIS than the generals do, believe me.
And calm judgment.
And you can tell them to go themselves.
Because all it takes is one wrong move.
I would bomb the shit out of them.
Just one.
Russell, what do you think?
To me, it is one more ad that the Clinton campaign is doing to attack Trump, but I'm still not hearing a lot of what Hillary Clinton's going to do to...
She's running by being the anti-Trump. That's what she's doing here. She's not putting forth a positive message.
Don't you think at some point, though, we've got to start hearing Hillary's message?
As long as Trump commits unforced errors and he's trying to reel it back, she doesn't have to.
It's effective. Hearing his own words, because you hear these things and you're like, did he just say that? And that's basically what she's keying on. It also reminded me, what was the famous ad where the phone was ringing?
Hillary Clinton, 3 a.m.
It's 3 a.m. and your children are safe and asleep.
So she's running the same playbook,
It reminded me of that. Who do you want to answer the phone?
Same playbook in reverse.
I'm just getting to the point I want to hear more of Hillary's message than the anti-Trump. So you're right, it's effective. It is effective, but I'm starting to need to hear her.
Well, and I saw the one where it's funny how many ads we've seen from her here in Florida, and really none until now from Trump. But she does have the one about more jobs since Eisenhower. There is that one where she talks bullet points of what she's going to do, but really the devil's in the details, and you're never going to get details, I guess, in these political ads. But
let's take a look at the Trump ad. Take a look.
In Hillary Clinton's America, the system stays rigged against Americans. Syrian refugees flood in. Illegal immigrants convicted of committing crimes get to stay, collecting Social Security benefits, skipping the line. Our border open, it's more of the same, but worse. Donald Trump's America is secure. Terrorists and dangerous criminals kept out. The border secure. Our families safe. Change that makes America safe again. Donald Trump for president.
All right, Charlie, what say you?
Well, vote for me or die. That's the feeling I get from if vote for me or everybody's going to come get you.
It's all Law and Order. It's Nixon 1968. I've drawn that comparison before, and folks have said, wait a minute, don't compare Trump to Nixon. I'm not talking about Nixon 72 Watergate. I'm talking 1968. These are troubled times. Vote for me. I'll restore law and order. That's the playbook he's running.
To me, that ad was, I thought it was well done. It was the first one we've seen, and I thought it was well done. But it was, to me, the typical political ad where you're beating up Hillary, and you've got the negative music, and then we get to the Donald Trump, and then it's the happy. It's the music becomes all a major key from the minor key.
And it's played to his base. It's almost a primary ad instead of a pivot to the general race.
I'm sure, yes, the base Trump supporters will see that and go, yes, see. That's why we need him in there, because, and by and large, there are lots of people who don't feel safe, who do feel like we're on the verge of just spinning out of control. We need somebody to bring some law and order back into it.
And what our pollster, Matt Towery, has said, what he really needs to do, though, is project himself as cool and calm and collected, at least behind the scenes, somehow, some way, to project himself as sane, because a lot of his detractors just think that he's not sane. If he can find a way to do that, veering off from the message of law and order, then he's going to win over, in particular, some independents.
Well, that Hillary ad you just ran didn't help.
No, didn't help.
It did
she
not
knows
help.
that.
Yeah.
That's why she's trying to run, not with a positive message per se in the brunt of her ads, but to tear down Trump.
Don't you want to see an ad with Trump with maybe even no suit and tie on, with a coffee cup in his hand, and he's leaning on a fence, and he says, hey, come on, guys. Look, you say a lot of things in press conferences and sound bites, but look, you can trust me for this reason, and this reason.
I just honestly think you're going to see that?
Probably not.
I mean, I don't see that ad.
Maybe he's not capable of that, but I'd like to see that.
At the kitchen table, except I'm wearing a suit and tie. But like this.
Very stuffy.
Yeah, that's right.
I wonder why I want the candidate with
Trump and plaid. Trump and plaid.
Trump and plaid.
See it
there
now.
you go. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Kitchen Table Politics.
Did we pass the audition?
We passed.
All right, cool. Good.
Coming up, we've shown you how trouble in Detroit has burned Florida taxpayers. Next, Charley LeDuff will show us how it's affecting public safety.
Throughout this year, we've investigated the bankruptcy in Detroit and problems that have burned taxpayers here in Florida and across the nation. Tonight, we'll show you how Detroit's financial woes are putting an intense strain on the people who keep us safe. Our contributor, Charley LeDuff, rode with the men of Engine 41.
Most of us found out we're here for this, we're here to help the citizens and and save people at their worst moment in their life.
It's a rush, you know. I could have back pain and just be sore as hell. And when that bell goes off, you get tunnel vision. It's time to work.
Each time we go out there, it's a risk. It's a risk of you having a heart attack, getting up out of a dead sleep, going in here. You have to be coherent. It's not like I have 5 minutes to say, oh, let me wake up and get my bearings together. I got to get dressed, get in, and go to work.
I mean, it is changing for the better. You can see it on a daily basis, but I don't know. I mean, I really don't have the answers. You know, like you said, would you be in charge? I wouldn't be in charge of this fire department. I wouldn't want to be. But we need chiefs, we need Indians.
So you live by the bell?
By the bell, that's it.
It goes, you go.
That's it. Regardless of what that sheet says. When that sheet comes out, we out. Go. Right now. Like, get there fast, you know? So.
That's the culture.
Yeah, definitely is.
Even when it all fell apart?
Even when it all fell apart. The bell go off, you're still there.
So my mom and dad lived on the same street, grew up together.
78 Untitled. 3478 Untitled between
We can catch up on our series of investigations of wasted money from Detroit to Tampa Bay. Again on YouTube, search for Craig Patrick's Money, Power, and Politics and click subscribe.
Coming up, Republicans are gaining ground on Democrats in states that will swing the election. Plus, Donald Trump contradicts his new campaign manager with a new round of insults and new revelations over State Department emails dog Hillary Clinton.
Well, Donald Trump's new campaign manager said he would no longer hurl personal insults, and Donald Trump responded by hurling personal insults. This time, a couple of MSNBC hosts calling him two clowns, one of them off the wall and neurotic, a not very bright mess. Meanwhile, Donald Trump will face a lot of questions over the next 2 days about his immigration policy. Is he softening his position in deporting 11 million people living here illegally? We will get definitive answers, we think, on Wednesday during a speech. Trump will be here on Wednesday. Meanwhile, Hillary Clinton continues to face questions over her email, particularly with Colin Powell pushing back, saying, "Don't pin this on me." Meanwhile, more revelations suggesting that her staff mixed State Department and Clinton Foundation business. Much more to come on Money, Power, and Politics tomorrow night. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you soon.